is like the middle of nowhere, dude.
Yeah, but it's a good spot.
You came out here and started the fire?
No.
No. It wasn't me.
Maybe Aaron came and started the fire.
No, whatever. I mean, it's on. There's no reason not to... Ugh. There you go.
It's a good spot.
This is pretty ambient. This is good for Halloween.
It's fine, I think.
Did you bring the candy or did you leave it at home?
No, I left it at home. I'm being good.
Well, alright. Welcome to Curbrash. We're sitting around the fire this week. Nice and ambient. Because this will be the last episode before Halloween. So, wanted to hit you with some lovely stories around our campfire. Now, we've seen a few spooky things. Well, I've seen a few spooky things out on the road, especially driving in the middle of the night in the middle of nowhere. Well, we got some spooky stories for you. Driving-related stories. But Nick, you've got some situations that you've heard of or been in that you wanted to hit the viewers with.
Yeah, I mean, mine are more sort of broad and general, I guess, but like when I think of what would be a scary situation or spooky situation, and I thought of it in part because you said you wanted to try this with the golf, but it's not uncommon for people to just go like car camping. You know, like you throw a sleeping bag or a small mattress or whatever in the back, and your car is the tent. Don't got to put up a tent. Don't got to take down a tent. Or sometimes, you know, people doing a road trip, or you know, maybe there's some unfortunate circumstances. You're living out of your car for a bit, and that's fine. It happens. But you're just being parked somewhere. You know, parking lot, campground. Probably the worst would be sort of being out in the middle of nowhere in the sticks, like you just found a spot in the forest or just way the fuck out there. And just someone approaching the vehicle. Either like trying to get in, like they're pulling on the door handles, they're knocking on the windows, or like you get out and see somebody. Because I don't know. To me, that is like extremely unnerving. That feels like a huge invasion of my space.
I would call it that, yeah.
Like that personally would probably put me into like an immediate sort of fight or flight mode. I'll stab a bitch if they approach. And like if I'm in the middle of nowhere, that's perfect because that's where you're staying for the rest of your days.
Right. No, that is scary.
And like truckers as well, like, you know, they usually have pull-offs they pull into to sleep or they go to a truck stop, but like some of those things are like really fucking sketchy places. And I mean, I've read stories in the past of people having just like, you know, crackheads just pull up to their cab in the middle of the night and try and get in.
Yeah.
Or steal the truck.
Yeah, I've also read that. How do you feel about the old legends of someone in your back seat? Does it make you feel better not having 4 doors on some of your cars?
Yeah, that's why I only drive 2-seaters. Don't got to worry about someone being in the back seat. No fucking room.
Yeah, ever since getting the Golf, I've always at night if you're kind of feeling it.
I never have to look in the back seat like, oh, someone. Oh, nope, don't have them.
Don't have them. Not bad. Yeah, I mean, I've got a few proper stories. I got a few spooky stories, you know. But let me start with my personal stories.
Except the vibe. The vibe's a fishbowl. So.
Oh yes.
Like, I can see into the back seat from my backyard. I don't need to worry about.
You're not worried about serial killers in your back seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't get into a vibe. I think they're looking for a Lexus. They're looking for a Mercedes. You know.
Yeah, they're not looking for a 17-year-old Pontiac.
No, they're not. But, I do have. I've like you ever driven on the road at night and seen some scary things you maybe not necessarily couldn't explain, but just are off-putting? Because I've got a couple. They're simple.
Yeah, like I've seen some weird stuff. I guess like, you know, things that make you do a double take and they're maybe not there the second time.
Mm-hmm.
But like yeah, like things that are just weird. I don't think I've ever personally experienced something where it's like, holy shit, that's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. I have two. I have two very, very short ones, but I'll spin you a little yarn. You might remember, like a year ago, or maybe, sorry, I don't remember when it was, maybe like a year and a half ago, It was maybe 2 months after owning the Golf. The Golf R, very important. I had to take a trip up to Sault Ste. Marie.
Yep.
And I did it in one quick I mean, it is a 1-day drive. It's not a long drive, but I
Floored it the whole way.
a little bit, yeah. But there's 2 major stints when you go up that way from the Toronto area. There's the initial run from Toronto up to Sudbury, and then there's from Sudbury across to Sault Ste. Marie. And once you pass like maybe 40 minutes north of Barrie, you start to see a lot of nothing. And you still got like an hour and a half before you hit Sudbury. So the sun was setting. It was a Thursday evening, so there was very much nobody on the road. I was doing, it doesn't matter. They're never going to catch, they'll never take me alive. I was doing fast. I was going impound speed, 100%. I was going like 160 the whole way. There was 0 people. I've never been, usually like in my experiences when there's nobody on the road, it's like pitch black outside. You know what I mean? It's never like there's sun and I'm alone. But it was like the sun was cresting. Everything was covered in that orange hue. And as I'm
golden hour.
A good golden hour, but like late into it, where like it's starting to get a little bit dark. And as I'm blasting past these, the middle of nowhere, nothing, I see something on the side of the road. And when I explain it to you, you're going to look at me like I'm crazy. Because it doesn't make sense in the context of what I'm saying. It makes no sense. But as I'm driving, I turn my head, and what I see appears to be, and I'm fairly certain it was a statue, but it still weirded me out. It was a man. He had some kind of raccoon or something sitting on his shoulder, and from what I saw, it looked like he was sitting down playing like a bongo or drums. And it was really fucking weird because in my head, at first I went, that is a man playing the bongos. But then as I saw that he had a raccoon sitting on his shoulder, I'm like, there's no way this is real. Also, why is he in the middle of nowhere? This must be a statue. But then it started to become, why is there a statue of a man playing bongos in the middle of fucking nowhere? And it like stuck with me for the next hour because I couldn't wrap my head around it. It's not an extremely terrifying story. It just raises a lot of questions.
Oh no, it's just weird. I believe it. Like I believe it mostly because I remember when I was going to Bracebridge during COVID. It was like my vacation, quote unquote, because we weren't allowed to travel.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my girlfriend stopped at a place on the way there called the Screaming Heads. And as you're coming up to the Screaming Heads, what the Screaming Heads are is it's basically just like a bunch of concrete, I guess, statues. It's like an art installation in a field.
Right.
That looks like screaming heads. I don't know if you know that one famous painting where the guy's got his like hands beside his. Think of something like that. But you can see them sort of as you crest the hill and come down to where the area is. And
looking at them on my phone. Whoa.
Yeah, like if you were not expecting them to be there,
right,
that would be fucking weird to see.
That would be alarming. Oh, they're creepy.
Because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I don't like that. I have one other one, and it's more human related though. On the same drive up to Sault Ste. Marie, on the second leg when you pass Sudbury. At this point, the sun has gone. Yeah, Sudbury to Sault Ste. Marie. The sun is completely down. It is nothing. There are no street lights. It is pitch black. There is one gas station at I believe it's called Espanola, where I overpaid for gas, which is the scariest part of this story. But
isn't that like the gas station where it's like there's no gas stations for like X amount of hundreds of kilometers after this point?
I'm not sure if it said that. Possibly. I was just looking at it on my phone and it was very dark, so I didn't really see the signs. But it is possible. But there is no gas station between between that point and Sault Ste. Marie, which is like an hour and a half. So, I'm blasting. I had actually passed that point, and so I'm on the second half of the 3 hour leg, and it was probably like
Okay.
35 minutes out into the middle of this nothing, complete and utter nothingness. I'm talking like one truck that I'm passing like every maybe 30 minutes, right? Nothing's going on up here. It's Thursday night in Northern Ontario at
Yeah.
almost midnight at this point. And out of the middle of the darkness, I see like two animal eyes, and then suddenly my headlights are showing me like that, just a faint outline of a man and his dog. I don't see a car around. I don't see. I went back and looked on after this on Google Maps. There are no fucking houses around. I don't know where this guy came from. Maybe he has a cabin in the middle of nowhere that you can't see because the trees are obscuring it or something. It was alarming, and he was just standing on the side of the road, and him and his dog were just staring at me as I passed. And I kind of did that thing where you turn your head and just sort of watch them as they go. And then I was just gone into the night, and I was like, oh, that's it. It kind of weirded me the fuck out because I thought, man, if I broke down right now, I think I'd be more afraid than if I was completely alone. Do you know what I mean? Like, where did this guy come from? Who the hell is he? And he was an
Yeah.
old guy.
Why is he here?
Why is he here? And it might be nothing. You know, it could be completely nothing. But it was just alarming in the moment. Have you ever heard of Kirby Road?
Purdy Road?
Kirby. It's in I think it's in Vaughan.
Kirby Road.
Yeah,
I
there's
see
a lot of
Kleinburg in North York.
yeah, Kleinberg. It like borders. Yeah, it's kind of like a kind of got a lot of urban legends around that place. You know that Mark the
Yeah,
Muzo
it's
guy,
definitely the Kleinburg one because the North York one is literally in the middle of a subdivision.
right? The Muzo guy that we were talking about the other
Yeah,
day.
yeah, I
Remember?
remember him. Yep,
Yeah, that's not only has Kirby Road seen a hundred different fucking horrible things. Allegedly, they found like a Native American burial ground there. That's where he hit those kids too. Like a lot of
Wow.
bad things happen on Kirby Road. Yeah, like
Is Kirby
it's
Road where that like age old? I don't think it's Kirby Road, but you've probably heard that age old story of like, oh, if you go to this road and park on the train tracks and put powder on your back bumper, you'll get pushed off and there will be handprints.
I think it might actually be. I mean, like there's also apparently there's a tombstone that's on the side of the road from a crash that happened a while ago. Yeah, here it is. Selena. Yeah, there's a tombstone on the side of the road that says Selena, I'm a cute kid. She died in 83. Kirby Road has been the site of a lot of horrible things in Ontario. There's some I don't know if I'm like I'm pretty open to whatever, like, you know, if you can, like, anything's possible, but there's some places that have so many bad things happen that I'm willing to believe that if there is hauntings, they would be haunted. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, I used to go. I used to just go drive around exploring at night. I used to do this
yeah,
with my girlfriend too when we first started dating, but we were literally just like no nav. We would just sort of wherever the road took us, and then we'd navigate back home after like 4 or 5 hours.
mm-hmm,
Um, and I guess two instances. One was kind of near me actually. I was just outside of sort of Ancaster, between Ancaster and Dundas, but I was on like a dirt road, and there was like some old broken down, um, I guess like farm buildings or a well house or something. It was like, you know, an old building beside a river,
mm-hmm,
abandoned, vacant, partially demolished, and we would just get out and look around. But I specifically remember having a feeling of dread walking around there. Like there was something there, but there wasn't
right,
anything there. Um, and that one was. It was also like 2:30 in the morning. Like it was pitch black.
yeah,
You know, I had my backpack and my flashlight, and that was it. Um, and then another time I was out near St. Catharines, and again it was just down like a countryside road. I think it was a dead end. I didn't see the dead end sign when I drove down the road. So I got to the end, I turned around, but then there was like a tunnel kind of off in the distance, off to the side, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Let's go check it out." So I parked the car. This is when I had the BRZ. That car saw a lot of shit. Um, got out of it, left my new to me car at the time just on the side of this desolate country road. Walked probably 150, 200 feet off the road to this tunnel. And the one strange thing about this tunnel was, and I remember it very vividly, and my girlfriend still remembers it very vividly to this day, which is why I believe that it happened, because it's not just me. Sound didn't travel in the tunnel.
What do
Like,
you
know
mean?
how when you like talk in a tunnel, or I don't know, like you sing or yell, it echoes through to the other end?
Yeah.
In this tunnel, it just stopped.
Oh,
It was like you were talking at a wall.
that's weird. That's super weird.
And yeah, that was like we sat there for like 15, 20 minutes just making noise trying to figure. We probably sounded
Crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking for the right word to describe that. But yeah, like sound just didn't travel. It was just like being in a small room talking to someone right beside you. No echo, nothing.
Huh. That's super weird. I have a couple good stories, but they're not, I'll be honest, they're not mine, but I'm ready to spook you. They're alarming. So I took these stories. They are, I guess technically speaking, original stories because they're from my girlfriend's father, who for many years in the, I believe, the 80s into the 90s was a long haul trucker. And he's seen a lot of shit driving, through the states, like into like the middle of nowhere. And think about it, where these days you have cell phones, you have everything. Back in those days, you didn't really have that.
Paper maps. That's
Yeah,
about
paper
it.
maps, and if anything bad happened, you were kind of on your own. Fair warning, this one's pretty brutal, but here we go. One thing about Pennsylvania that he always said is because of the way that the roads are, there's a lot of inclines and then declines. You're going up and down hills constantly. And one thing you learn as a trucker, these are his words, not mine, but I'm not going to keep prefacing it. One thing you learn as a trucker is that when you're in Pennsylvania in the winter, the dips are enough where you'll have ice freezing at the bottom of valleys, but on the top you'll just have like a mist or something. So when you're traveling with truckers, more often than not, you're traveling in a convoy of truckers, because at that time especially, they didn't really travel alone. They would go maybe one or two people. Sometimes they'd go alone, but mostly it would be a group, and they would have CB radios. If you're not familiar with CB radios, this is not for you, Nick. I know you are, but they're
I love CB radios.
Much more long distance walkie-talkies is the easiest way to explain it, simply.
Yeah.
And you can tune into channels as you pass. Like, the range is like a couple miles, and you can tune in as you pass by. There used to be people who would sit in their houses and talk to truckers as they'd pass. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, it used to be common to try and pick truckers up to get like police reports.
Oh yeah, they'd call them rappers if they were undercover. So like a blue rapper would be a blue undercover car or something like that.
Yeah.
But so one thing he knew was to be very careful in the winter in Pennsylvania, or even like coming up on winter, like in early November or late October. So one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is like a lot of truckers, well, maybe they do nowadays, but at the time maybe didn't realize, they're really pushing it. A lot of these younger guys, especially, to make a buck, they're doing much higher than the speed limit. They're really going for it. They were forging logbooks to make it seem like they'd stop, but they hadn't. They would skip over, way stations, all this kind of stuff. And in those days, especially the young guys were willing to take crazy risks and without the proper knowledge. So he was traveling behind a group of 3 younger guys, and they kept yakking on the radio, as he would say, and he was trying to get a word in because these guys were going so fast, and he knew that there was a really, really tight turn coming up. And, he was trying to warn them, guys, you really need to slow down. You really need to slow down. And he couldn't get through because they wouldn't shut the fuck up. So he's at the very end of it, and he's slowing down because he knows what's going to happen. Actually, a couple of them had passed him going at an alarming speed, knowing that this road has a fucking hard right. And they're not listening, and suddenly he hears one of them scream over the radio, and from way down, here's a big crash. And he comes up on them maybe like half a mile later. You got 3 trucks. The first one has smashed directly into basically a wall, almost
Like a cliff face.
like a cliff face. And then the ones behind him have sort of managed to slow down, but still hit. The one in the third guy, he's okay. The second guy, he's okay, but he seems like he's unconscious. So
I
he's
imagine
walking
the
up.
first guy's just toast.
It's way worse than toast. He walks up to the first one. He peeks into the cab. The guy is attached to the windshield. And he thinks, fuck. So he opens the door, and as he pulls the guy away from the windshield, it had cut basically a giant circle of where his face is, and it took the skin with it. So his bare fucking face, no skin, it's all left on the windshield, just comes back, and just blood and sinew and nastiness. He said he used to have nightmares for 10 years after that, from that experience.
Oh, I believe it. I mean,
Yeah.
even walking up to the crash knowing that it looks pretty serious, like that's just nobody's really prepared for that.
No, I think glass has also come a long way since then. This is back in the days where everything was a flat panel, and it was very simple glass, not really safety glass. You know, especially trucks. They're way old. Like, technology in trucks is, like, way behind in a lot of cases. Commercial technology.
Yeah, no, it's definitely come a long way since then. But then, like, you have to also think about, like, the amount of kinetic energy
Oh, yeah.
that just immediately stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, there's a ton, like, even in a car, there's a ton of energy if you hit a stationary object at, 50 miles an hour. But a fully loaded truck, like, you're talking what, like 20, 30, 40,000 pounds in some cases.
Yeah. He puked right there on the side of the fucking road over and over and over again. Yeah, that one lived with him for a long time. He said he used to wake up years later from nightmares of that scene. And no, I don't blame him at all. I don't want to experience anything like that. I think we take the safety aspect of cars now for granted. Like, it used to be real nasty when you would get into an accident. Just like, in the 80s even. I mean, look at the cars that Nissan still sells in Mexico, or like up until very recently were able to sell in Mexico. Like, those things disintegrate.
The original, like, Sentras and stuff.
Yeah, and they're still made as a 2015.
Has come it advanced a lot between, like, the 70s and 90s, and then again between, like, the early 2000s and the early 2010s.
Yeah, big time.
I think are, like, some of the biggest jumps in crash safety.
Big time. So
basically, like, crumple zones, and then when the front offset impact became popular, and everybody was failing that at first, and then they needed to fix that. Those were sort of like the 2 biggest jumps.
And I guess you could say seatbelts altogether, but that was like in the 50s or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
but like they've still definitely become better since then.
100%. I think,
and airbags were a thing between the 70s and my MR2, no factory airbag.
Yeah, even I can recall a lot of 90s cars that did not come with airbags. So that's crazy to me, I'll be honest. Like, I love aftermarket steering wheels and stuff, man, but the idea of getting into a horrible accident and just going straight into metal is pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I think the one other one that's a bit, it's much more spooky and ethereal. Same thing. No, he was a trucker, and one of the things you do, like I said, you run with a group, and so he was running with a group from. Now, to preface, he is not he doesn't believe in ghost stories. You know what I mean? He believes in aliens, separate issue, but he doesn't believe in ghost stories. He very much is like, we're here, we die, that's it. You know, where that's all there is to it. So when he's running in this group, they went all the way from Montreal, and they were cutting all the way across, I believe, to Washington State, or something on the West Coast. And they're flying through I-80, and I believe he said that it was somewhere in Nebraska. And they're laughing, they're giggling, as you do on the radio in those days. Like, that was their entertainment. And honestly, like it is for us when we were on the road that day, you're just giggling, you're pointing out things, you're laughing with each other. Yeah. And they suddenly get really quiet. And now he's like maybe third out of the 4 in line, and he passes by and he sees on the side of the road there's this girl standing, and she's hitchhiking. Pretty stereotypical, but, you know, it's what was there. And they all got really quiet, and he comes on the radio, he goes, you know, back in those days, truckers were kind of, they still are, but they're disgusting pigs, and some of them might want to pick up a young girl. That was never his thing. But he came on the radio and said, "You guys see that?" And he's like, "I don't know if anybody's looking to pick up a girl, but there's someone on the side of the highway." And the front runner says, "Keep driving." And he went, "Why?" And he says, "Never stop for that girl." And he goes, "I don't get it." And he's like, "You know how many people see that girl? Everybody sees that girl. Nobody ever stops. She's been dead a long time." And that's the only thing they ever said about it. And he said it shook him up so much because these guys were kind of nasty slime balls. They're the kind who would stop for a young girl and...
Well, like, I picked up on, because as soon as you said never stop for that girl, because that implies that it's a familiar quote-unquote face.
Yeah, they said everybody sees that girl. Never stop. Well, it's like Kirby Road, right? That place is the site of tragedy. Yeah. I wouldn't stop for somebody on the side of the road. Hitchhiking has changed these days.
I don't think I'd stop for anybody on the side of the road, period.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's too many instances of people trying to, like, ambush a good Samaritan that I don't really care to be a good Samaritan.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I wouldn't... I don't think there's any reason for me to stop.
I've seen, you know what? I spent my formative years on Live Leak. Too many videos of people popping out of the bushes.
Oh, yeah, too many Mexican cartels, like, jumping someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Could never catch me stopping for anything like that.
Mm-mm. No.
No.
Especially at night. Not happening.
No, 100% not happening at night. I will say, he has one more crash story. But it's kind of brutal, but back in those days, like, oh, yeah?
Before you get into that story, because you did mention Nebraska and I-80, I have a fun little side tidbit, because it is a horror movie that centers around a car, and at some point they travel through... it centers around a car and a truck, and there's CB radios involved, and that whole story just kind of reminded me.
Yeah, go for it.
Have you ever seen the movie Joyride with Paul Walker?
Joyride with... I don't think so.
I highly recommend you watch it.
Okay.
The whole premise of the movie is he's driving back from, I think, somewhere in California to, like, Colorado or some shit.
Right.
They're going back east, and they stop in Colorado. But, like, Paul Walker's the main character. Steve Zahn is in the movie as well. And... so they buy, like, a car, and they start this road trip, and then at some point during the road trip, they, like, pull a prank on a trucker by pretending to be a hooker and inviting him somewhere.
Okay.
And then the rest of the movie, it basically turns out that the trucker's a serial killer, and he spends the rest of the time chasing them.
Right.
But it's, like, a fun Halloween watch.
Okay. Oh, Jim Beaver's in it. It's from Supernatural. That's pretty cool. That is a fun Halloween one. I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch that later. That seems fun. You know, it's funny actually. Now that I mentioned Supernatural, do you think there's a more iconic, like, spooky car than the Impala from Supernatural? I can't think of anything. Maybe the Mystery Machine,
Christine?
But Christine.
Yeah.
What is Christine?
You've never heard of the car Christine or the movie Christine?
Maybe.
It's a John Carpenter movie.
Oh.
If you haven't, then I'd suggest watching Christine as well.
This Corvette, or what is it? Corvair?
It was oh my god, it was a 19...
Plymouth Fury.
I forget the exact year. It was a 50s Plymouth Fury.
Oh, okay. No, I've never seen this before. Okay.
Another fun car-related Halloween movie.
Okay, cool. I feel like there's one other one. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like, do you think that, because I didn't know about that, but like I'm very familiar with the supernatural
The
Impala.
Impala.
Yeah. Do you think
No,
there's a
that's
more?
no. The only ones that really come to mind are the Impala from Supernatural, Christine. The car from Joyride is like it's just part of the movie because it's centered around it, but it's nothing
It's
special or
nothing.
anything.
Yeah.
I do sometimes. I guess you could consider maybe the van from Jeepers Creepers.
The
If you've ever
man from
seen.
Jeepers Creepers. Oh, the Ghostbusters mobile.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
I
What
mean,
is
technically
that?
that is supernatural related. Although the
Yeah.
Ghostbusters, I wouldn't call that a horror genre.
No, that's true. I guess more so just like Halloween-esque. What is the Ectomobile? That's a. It's a hearse, right?
Yeah, it's like an old Cadillac hearse or something.
Hmm. It is a 1959 Cadillac Miller Meteor Sentinel, which is a limo-style end-loader combination car. That's a really fun way to say hearse. That's a
Yeah,
fucking hearse. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Those are pretty cool.
I think Supernatural and Christine are probably like some of the most famous.
Yeah. Is there a movie about some kind of like hell car? I'm trying to remember.
Some kind of what? Sorry,
I think Futurama did a parody of it, like back in the day.
they did a parody of Christine. I think
Oh, it was a parody of Christine. Okay, great. That's what
they
it
either did a
was.
parody of Christine or a parody of the movie I think called The Car.
The car.
Yeah, it's also like an old '70s. I don't know why I know these.
Autism.
But it's literally called The Car, and Bender in that Futurama episode I think looks like the car.
The car. Yes, you're right. Yeah, you're correct. The car 1977. Oh, is a Huh. I've never seen this before, but that sure does look like it. Is it just an evil car?
Yeah, it's basically like an unstoppable hit and run mobile.
I've seen a few of those in Brampton.
Yeah,
I see. Okay,
that's
two
what we like their
bicyclists.
Camrys.
Yeah, in real life they're Camrys. This is crazy. Two bicyclists are run down by a strange black car in the desert near a small town in Utah. But this is just the first in a series of hit-and-run murders. Sheriff Wade Perrins, played by James Brolin, is called to investigate, and his deputy, Everett, which is John Marley, is killed by the black sedan, which some witnesses say has no one behind the wheel.
Yep.
We'll be out
Yep.
that soon, trust me, when,
James Brolin, father of Josh Brolin.
really?
Yep.
Nick, who's Josh Brolin? I don't know.
Have you ever not seen like old No Country for Old Men or
Oh!
what
Okay,
else?
yes.
Josh Brolin?
I mean, it's a dynasty of actors, I guess. Josh Brolin. Okay, yes. Yes. I am familiar. Just don't know people by name. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You think, like... I don't know, like, there's not a lot of... I feel like in the 70s it was like, oh, in the future, there was like... you know the word, like, the visions of the future they had in the past? Where it's like... And this
Back
will
to the
happen.
Future Part 2.
Yeah, exactly. Like how they had the self-lacing Nikes and stuff like that. And like, do
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah.
For me, I never thought that we would get to a point, but hackers have proven it's possible where like they can take over cars and like turn the steering wheel. You know,
Yeah.
kind of wonder if like,
Especially with like steering by wire, brake by wire.
yeah,
It
I
was
wonder.
always just it was oh fuck, I have another fun sort of vehicle related horror movie for you to watch, and this one is fucking hilarious. Oh my god, who was it? Who was it by? The movie's called Maximum Destruction, and the star of it is Emilio Estevez. Or sorry, not
Emilio-
Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, okay.
It's an 80s horror movie, and it was directed by Stephen King, and he has
Really?
come out and said that he was so fucked off cocaine while he was directing this movie that he has no, like, very little recollection of it whatsoever.
You're kidding.
And the whole premise of the movie is these people are like, there's like a comet passing by Earth, and it sends like technology and specifically vehicles into a frenzy, and they start like self-piloting themselves and just killing people.
What?
And they're trapped in like a truck stop, and it's being circled by a convoy of trucks being led by a truck that has a big green fucking goblin face on the front of it.
Seriously. What is
So
what is
if
the
there's-
name of this again?
Maximum Overdrive.
Maximum Overdrive. I'm gonna put it on my phone. Maximum Overdrive. Oh, I have seen this, and Stephen King doesn't remember this. I've seen this.
Yeah, it's on Prime if you do want to watch it again.
The Green Goblin truck has been kind of passed around too. Like there's people who
Yeah.
are like it was really decrepit a while ago. Man,
Yeah.
it does
Joyride
not
is also
shock
on
me.
Prime.
Okay, great. It does not shock me that Stephen King was fucked off cocaine directing this.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a mid-'80s movie. Everybody was fucked off cocaine back then, but
Yeah, the 80s was cocaine
I-
land.
highly recommend Joyride, Christine, and Maximum Overdrive.
Okay, bet. I'm gonna watch all of them. I feel like time really fucks with movies, but yeah, I'm gonna watch all of them. There's it's funny. Cars are weird. Like to pivot a little bit back to the spookiness of the open road. Cars are a weird thing because they kind of give you that infinite freedom, and when you're moving, don't you feel a little bit invincible? But like, the second you stop, it's like, oh, I'm suddenly vulnerable. Do you know what I mean? Like when you pass by some fuck shit in Hamilton, for example, and you're like, crackhead, and if you were like stopped, you'd be like, he's gonna come up to my car, but because you're moving,
Yeah, it's the difference between like, if you're moving, you just sort of like, you get to experience the moment, but you're already on the way out.
yeah, like there's no,
But if you're stuck in traffic, it's like, oh, is he gonna notice me?
yeah, is he gonna come over and start a problem?
Yeah.
No,
I mean, like
exactly.
it's like I've straight up like left gas stations at night because somebody looked a little sketchy.
Yeah, I've done the exact same thing. I remember once going to a bank just to pull out like a little bit of cash because I was going somewhere like a bar or something, right? And
Yeah.
I stopped, and I'm an idiot because I was like, oh, this is a good idea. And there were two people standing outside the bank door. It was closed. It was like 10 p.m., right? There's two people, like
Yeah.
what is clearly a crackhead and his crack wife standing outside of the doors. And I still got out of my car. Like, I'm going to go get like cash out of an ATM in front of them. Like, am I an idiot? And then it had to, like, my girlfriend had to be the one to be like, we're leaving. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, you're right. And I took one step out of the car and I got back in the car and drove away. And it's like, I'll pay the fee to go to a different ATM. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really want to even chance
I'll
this.
pay the $1.60 to not get mugged.
Oh yeah, like 100%. Like
I
there's no
remember.
way.
So, the TDs, I don't know if it's just the TDs. I know it's TDs because my bank is TD, but they've started closing their doors at night and locking. So your only option if you want to use the bank machine at night is you have to go through the drive-through.
Really?
And I remember I was going to put money in one night, and I came around the corner to get into the drive-through, and there was like one guy just sitting on the curb across from the machine. And like I came around the corner, I saw that, and I immediately put it in reverse and left.
Dude, that's alarming. I don't want none of that. I don't want none of what he's selling. He's
Yeah.
gonna
They
rob you.
started doing it. They started doing it because homeless people would go and sleep in the lobbies beside the ATM machines. So
Yeah, I've
TD
seen
just
that.
said, "Fuck it, we're locking the doors. You can't come in at night."
I've absolutely seen that. It happened to me at a different location where I was going to go in, but there was literally I'm making an assumption, but like probably homeless, like brown gentleman, like sleeping. I mean, why else would he be sleeping in a bank?
In a bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't sleep in the bank. So,
I don't.
I assume he's
I
homeless.
usually sleep at home.
Yeah. I just assumed that he was
Which
homeless,
I
and
mean,
I'm
like
like, I don't want
you
to.
know, it is what it is. Like sometimes you fall on hard times, and you're homeless. Isn't a knock against homeless people. It's just literally TD stopped letting you in after hours because homeless people would sleep in the bank,
But
and they don't
that's
want that liability, and it makes people fucking uncomfortable if you have to go to the bank. So
yeah. I mean, I don't want to go in there and pull money out if this guy like. Not every homeless person is a criminal or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But
the
it's like,
few ruin it for the many.
yeah, it's a higher rate, obviously, because they're doing whatever to survive. I get that. I also
Yeah,
don't want to I'm making the choice not to chance it. So
yeah,
I get strung up for this
yeah.
one. But
I also don't want to like I don't want to be stuck there if they ask for something because like I'm clearly either taking money out or putting money in.
yes, that's what's
So I
happening.
can't use the like, oh sorry, I don't have anything because it's there. It's in my hands.
Yeah. Like we may not be homeless, but it's not like we have like that's the thing. People are like, "Oh, you're not homeless." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but like you don't know if somebody's like not doing well and they can't really spare any money." So,
Yeah.
I just want to avoid it altogether. Like
Yeah.
that just
On the flip side, funny bank machine story. I went to go deposit money one night and there was a person in front of me who was walking through the drive-through. This didn't look very sketchy. Like he saw that the door was closed and went around and just went to start using the machine. Um, and he had what I can only assume was a fake Gucci backpack. Um, so
okay.
he did his thing at the bank machine, but he left his receipt there, and I'm a nosy fuck, so I pulled the receipt out and looked at it. He was in overdraft
Of course.
by like $12 or something.
With
And
his
that's when I
Gucci
figured out
backpack.
that the Gucci backpack was fake.
It wasn't before when it said like Coochie on it. Just curious.
I just saw like the colored straps and the
Oh
logo.
yeah,
I wasn't looking that much at it, but then I saw the bank receipt and I was like, ah, that's not a Gucci backpack. That's like
yeah.
a goopy backpack.
Goopy. It's a Poochie backpack. I get it. Yeah,
A
I get it.
doopy.
Doopy. I mean, I get it too because like I don't know. I never understood that. That like I've also done that. I think I've told you in the past. Like I've pulled a receipt just because it's there. Because sometimes people, especially like during the COVID days, like people would just leave their receipts, right? But I want
Yeah.
my receipt, so I have to clear your receipt, right? So it
The
was just a
bank
lot of
machines
money.
now,
Hmm.
if you don't like tear your receipt, it'll pull the receipt back in and cut it.
Really,
Yeah. If it sits there for long enough, it'll pull it back in and just dispose of it.
really. Okay, that's pretty neat. No,
Yeah.
I like, and I pulled somebody's receipt, and I think I told you it was like 100 grand in checking, and I'm like, holy shit! If you got
The
100 grand in
flip side of
checking,
tearing.
yeah, no, it's a complete. If you have 100 grand in checking, what do you have in like other accounts? Like that's crazy. The checking's your
Yeah.
landing spot for pay, sure, but like, where does it go beyond that? Like, where do your savings? Like, who knows? I wish I had the details. You see people like
Yeah.
that, and you're like, what am I doing wrong? Like, like that's crazy. But sorry, we'll pivot back to something spooky out in these spooky woods. I don't like it when people approach me in the dark. If that makes sense. I don't like it when anybody does anything to me and it's nighttime. Like I don't want to interact with you. I feel like the world is alarming when the sun goes away.
I walk around with the meanest mug at night because I don't want anybody to approach me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. You ever like it happens at car meets too, but like you ever get these guys who are like, and I guess it's kind of spooky, it's kind of Halloweeny, but you ever get the guys who are very clearly like, maybe they're not directly talking to you, but you see them interacting with other people, and the way that they're interacting is either they're looking for a fight or like they're trying to get information out of you, and you're like, I don't even want to talk to you, and you're like, I'm leaving. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like the way they're interacting is like,
Yeah.
they're gonna mug somebody later.
Yeah.
They're just finding the
All
person with
those
the most
people
money.
that acted really hard in high school.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't want to. I think the scariest thing to me in life are just like people. Like people scare the crap out of me. You know what I mean? So like, to me, like, I just don't want to. Like, every like horrible crime was committed by a person. It wasn't some like supernatural entity, right? So to me, it's like,
Yeah.
people are
I mean,
scary.
like I don't inherently dislike people. I'm just I'm fairly non-confrontational. Like, I'm not going to go out of my way to start anything or escalate anything unless
Sure.
it's like 100% absolutely necessary.
Yeah, no, why would you?
So I don't want anybody to approach me with that intent.
No. How do you feel about like maybe we'll end on this because we'll keep it shorter. But how do you feel about those guys who drive around with like, especially around Halloween and especially when they're G35 drivers and they've got like the like arm hanging out of their trunk or something? You ever seen
The
that?
blood spatter on their hood.
The blood spatter on their hood, the arm hanging out of their trunk, or like whatever, a hand, like they've got a body in the trunk. Huh?
Clown. Straight
Yeah.
up clown.
Yeah, I don't like
Although
it.
I did see somebody that had like a full-size skeleton in the passenger seat, and they put like his arm on the windowsill, and like somehow got like a cigarette into his mouth that was staying there, and that I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I think we saw one of those at a meet recently that they had a skeleton in the passenger seat.
Yeah,
I think
but like the arm in the
the arm is
dangling out
cool,
of the
yeah.
trunk, or like the blood spatter on the hood, or the fucking teeth in the front of
Oh, the teeth.
the grill is. No.
Yeah. No, not for me either. I don't know. I'm a spooky guy, a spooky lover. I enjoy scary things, but those things kind of, yeah, they just make me cringe. We can close off with one last story from the trucker's catalog, let's call it. Back in the day, it's not very common these days, but way back when in the 80s, a lot of normal people actually liked to get CB radios to communicate with truckers. You didn't really have cell phones, you know, other than the radio. It was really your only form of entertainment. And on
A lot of off-roaders use them too.
oh yeah, a lot of off-roaders use them. And on his way up to Montreal once, there was a gentleman in a, I have the model, it was a black BMW 5 Series of the day. This is the early 90s. And they were driving up, and this guy was on the radio talking nonstop, and he had just picked up this 5 Series. He was very proud of it. And he wouldn't shut up about it. But, you know, people like a good conversation, and he was rattling off specs and whatnot. And you know, he sped past, and at one point he saw him. He saw this 5 Series, this black 5 Series, just blow past. Now it was winter. It was the middle of winter. It was very snowy and very dangerous to be on the road, especially in those days, without winter tires. And this guy had just come from the factory or from the dealer, so definitely not on winter tires. And at one point he'd said to him, "Hey man, maybe you should slow it down." And he said, you don't know anything about this machine," which is the most BMW response one could have. But
Oh yeah.
a little ways up the road, they started to hear the call. There's an accident. There's an accident up the road. Black BMW, black car, black BMW, accident, hit a median. And as he passes by, the guy had not been wearing his seatbelt because the BMW doesn't do it automatically. So why would he need it? And he had actually gone through the windshield. An ejection, and he was dead on impact. He was basically a bloody smear on the side of the road. And somebody had, I'm sure, called the police. I don't remember if they had, but, you know, he kept driving because he was just like, Jesus Christ. And, you know, you got to be smart. You got to protect yourself. You can't do stupid shit like that. Sometimes the scariest thing is ourselves. Yeah, you got to wear your seatbelt.
Yeah.
That's one I don't understand, how people cannot wear their seatbelt.
Yeah, you know, the first thing, admittedly, that I thought of is, so he just got this brand new 5 Series and installed a CB radio into it, which I know for a fact, especially at that time, means they would have had to drill a big fuck-off hole either in the trunk lid or the roof.
Oh, yeah.
The CB antenna.
Yep. It was in the trunk.
That pains me a little.
Yeah, I remember he actually, now that you've mentioned that, I do recall that in that story he did mention that it was like an enormous CB antenna. It was like a really big one, like bigger than usual. So yeah, that is painful. Now that you mention it, I didn't really think, because they can sort of stick on, but yeah, they kind of drill the big hole for him.
Well, like back then they were just metal. Like today, you can probably get like a stick-on one that maybe goes under the windshield or you can just route the line and stick it on the roof. But back then, it was just you got the big metal one
Oh yeah.
in varying lengths.
Yep. Back then, things were different. But yeah, I guess, yeah, he did drill right into his new BMW, which, that's painful. But you know what? He didn't last very long, so dumb choices on dumb choices. Alright, we can call it there, but
Shoes came off.
yeah. What did you say?
Said I wonder how many shoes came off.
I wonder how many shoes came off. Alright, let's get the fuck out of here. Fire's dying down, and I don't really want to be in the middle of nowhere when that shit goes fully dark.
Yes.
Can we go get that candy or what?
Yes, we can.
Let's go watch Joyride. That's what we should do.
That is exactly what we should do. We should watch Joyride and eat candy.
Alright, I'll follow you.
Let's go.